I've been designing TTRPG products since 2020. My first product was Restless, a guide to laying incorporeal undead to rest. It needs a major revamp. It's been 6 years and I've worked on the following: The Heart of the House, Drow of the Multiverse, Orcs of the Multiverse, Monster Weaknesses of the Multiverse, and Elf and Orc Hat Little Baby Volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4, Subclasses Revivified, Rishimen, Campaign Guide, Species Reincarnated, Drit's Travelogue of Everything Volume 2, Odyssey Anthology Volume 1 in Caliph's Wake, Scientific Secrets of Icewind Dale, The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, Attractions and Adventures, Beings from Beyond the Horizon, Purgatory, A Wild West Domain of Dread, The Trust Dossier, Dungeons of Charm, and Playing Possums, a collection of 4 animal player folk origins. Those Who Wander, Vault 5e, Broken Weave core rulebook, and Brinkwood Blood of Tyrants, 3 issues of Arcadia for MCM Productions, Flea Mortals, Adventure and Monster Design for Draco Studios, Hunt RPG, The Gift, No One Survives, and On Call. And those are the things that I know have been published somewhere. There's a couple that haven't been, so I won't bother mentioning them. Throughout all of those projects, there's 7 design principles I've followed. But before I dive into that, introductions. Hey folks, before we get into that, let me introduce myself. My name is VJ Harris. My pronouns are he, him, they, them, and something funny. I am a full-time tabletop role-playing designer and professional GM. You might recognize my name from things such as MCDM Productions Arcadia, Flea Mortals, and An Elf and an Orc Had a Little Baby Volumes 1 through 4. Before we get going, I've got something to show you. Hey, do you like werewolves? Did you like the dispatching part of the critically acclaimed game Dispatch by Ad Hoc Studios? If you answered yes to either one of those, then I think I've got a game that you're going to love. On Call, the werewolf dispatching game where you're a werewolf who isn't allowed to shift during the full moon phase, which is the day before, the day of, and the day after the full moon, because you have to be on call in case anything goes wrong with your fellow werewolves, their family, or the town, and it involves werewolves. This game is live on BackerKit now. At the time of this recording, it's currently made $771 out of the $3,017 is needed. I am doing this backer kit simply to fund having a layout designer, 2 artists, and an editor. Let me tell you how the game works. So you need 2d6 or 4d6 if you don't like re-rolling dice. You need a game master and 1 to 2 players. Throughout the game, you will be going on calls referred to as scenarios. While there is one scenario that is just very fun and energetic where you have to wrangle 3 toddler triplets who are displaying the agility and strength of werewolves way sooner than they should, there are also ones that are pretty heavy. There's one called Bully Teen, where Archer, who hasn't shifted and is 17 years old, is being bullied by their friends that have shifted, and they fall off a fucking cliff, and you have to go help them. You have to try and save them. Archer might die, depending on the decisions you make. If you want to hear more about how the game works and whatnot, you can go and check out my TikTok page and just look at any of the videos that kind of look like this. Peace out. Hope to see you at the backer kit. Rule number 1, write it all down. When you first get an idea, write it down any way you can. Whether it's on a sticky note, your phone, a napkin, anything. Write it down so you don't forget. I know that sounds simple, but I know there's things I've forgotten. But that isn't the end of rule number 1. After you've done that, you're going to sit with the idea for a few days, time allowing, more if you can, and keep writing as more of the ideas start to form. Rule number 2, does it already exist? After you've gotten everything you think you're going to think of for now written down, you need to see what other people have done. See if you feel like they've done this project well enough and that you don't feel the need to make more. Earlier this month, I was watching a video by Jenny D where she was talking about rules for romance in D&D. She mentioned how lacking Strixhaven was, and I thought, oh, I can write something better. She then mentioned another project, Hearts and Arrows Rules Options for Love and Romance, and broke it down for us. I then shelved the idea because Hearts and Arrows Rules Options for Love and Romance did a great job and I didn't think I had anything to add. In the opposite direction, last year I ran a game of Zomborg, a zombie apocalypse morph board game, and wanted to expand on it. I was told that a zombie board game already existed called Dead Flesh. I bought it to see what it was about and decided I was still going to make Zomborg because I didn't like how it was made. I think I can have my own good twist on it. Rule number 3, research, research, research. Research the part of the game you want to make content for. As a co-creator for An Elf and an Orc Had a Little Baby, while I was already familiar with the race in D&D, I did even more research into each race's stats, etc., to make sure I understood what I was about to break. And even beyond that, I went and looked at other TTRPGs that either had similar racial makeup or did what we were planning to do so I could be as prepared as possible while designing. Rule number 4, write it. I know you may be thinking, no shit, Sherlock. Well, it's more important than you think. I have a book of ideas that I've done some of the first 3 steps for, and I've never gotten to step 4. First 3 steps don't matter if you never make it here. Your dreams don't have to just be dreams. Rule number 5, fresh eyes. No matter what the creative endeavor is, at least in the realm of writing, mechanics, etc., after a while of looking at your own work, you'll start to miss your own mistakes. So at a certain point, you need fresh eyes from someone that understands the system of your project. Your first option is to find people to help you, whether it's paid or unpaid. There's subreddits you can post stuff in asking for thoughts and get feedback. You can hire someone who knows the system. If you can't quite afford something like that, you can see if bartering is an option. I wanted to learn how to do sound design, but couldn't pay someone to teach me. So what ended up happening is I offered my sensitivity consultant services for free to a friend, and in return, not only did they teach it to me, they gave me an opportunity to do some hands-on work, even though they would typically give it to someone who already knew what they were doing. In the event neither of those are options for you, your second option is taking a week off, time allowing, coming back after a week, and taking a look. It can make it easier to find the mistakes you missed the first time around. Rule number 6, taking critiques. Even when you're at the pinnacle of your career, your work is never going to be perfect. There's going to be something that could be changed, should be changed, needs to be changed. And that's okay. Learning to take feedback from colleagues and customers is only going to make you better at designing. Rule number 7, ignoring critiques. Now, I know I just said you have to learn how to take feedback, but you also have to learn when to ignore it. Not all critiques are valid. Some come from a place of preference or misunderstanding of what is possible within a system. Now, let's talk about a recent example of me not following my own rules and also following them. I made a product called More Ancestries, a Daggerheart product which adds races from D&D into Daggerheart, and I fucked it up. Because I didn't follow Rule 5 specifically, and because I didn't follow it, I got this comment. This is not compatible with Daggerheart. Outside of design principle weirdness, such as there being 0 features that require a role from the player, there are just complete misunderstandings of Daggerheart's rules in the product. The most egregious is that a good number of ancestries refer to trait roles, which adversaries in Daggerheart do not have, with scaling DCs that no ancestry in core or void content has. And a mistake of that caliber speaks to laziness in the design process. This feels like a 5e find and replace conversion done without understanding Daggerheart philosophy, which is a genuine shame knowing the creators. The art is charming and the ancestry is eye-catching, but the mechanics are unusable to me. Now, there's a part of this comment that is right and parts that are wrong. I say wrong like that because what I mentioned in Rule 7, it's a preference, but let's break it down. The part that is correct. The most egregious is that a good number of the ancestries refer to trait roles, which adversaries in Daggerheart do not have. A mistake of that caliber speaks to laziness in the design process. Now, I'll argue it wasn't laziness, just me missing a step, which can happen, we're human, but they aren't wrong about it being egregious, because it is. Now on to the part that is wrong. This is not compatible with Daggerheart. Outside of design principle weirdness, such as there being 0 features that require a role from the player, there are just complete misunderstandings of Daggerheart's rules in the product. The most egregious is that a good number of ancestries refer to trait roles, which adversaries in Daggerheart do not have, with scaling DCs that no ancestry in core or void content has. The wrong part is the requiring of a role from the player in the scaling DCs. First, of all of the original Daggerheart ancestries, only 2, yeah, that's right, 2, require players to roll anything for their abilities. It's a perfectly valid design choice to not have that happen here. Second, yes, the person is correct that there aren't scaling DCs in any core ancestry or void content. That doesn't mean it breaks the game. There's no injured condition either. The injured condition stops a creature from moving further than melee range until the condition is cleared. Making third-party content is a game of creating things that don't already exist and slotting them in. But just because they don't exist doesn't mean they can't and doesn't mean they shouldn't. Also, in this particular example, none of the other ancestries, core or void, require the rules I'm asking being made, so of course they wouldn't have the scaling roles. However, all is not lost, folks, for this product. I updated the product on Heart of Daggers and DriveThruRPG and sent messages to all of the owners of the product. We're all only human and we can all miss things, especially if we don't use the safety nets at our disposal, aka these design rules. Shameless plug, now that I fixed the issues, go check it out. 12 new ancestries pulled from D&D to add fun to your Daggerheart game. That's all for now, folks. Peace out.